We have been seeing lots of decks getting a huge redemption arc in the past few main boosters. Last booster, DBT09, was Veltra with Fry Heist, and for DBT10 we have Hexaorb with Aquamarine. And in my honest opinion, it is one of the best cards to be released for Hexaorb as it brought so much utility that the deck lacks.
Of course!
However, which Hexaorb you should run as a part of your right line? Well, this argument has been coming up on my conversation a lot lately every time I play Hexaorb against someone, regardless whether online or offline, and I thought it would be nice to make a video about it because surprisingly it is not as simple as black and white. So today I'm gonna be explaining as much as I can on how different each of the Hexaorb is during turn 3 and what benefit do they bring and what are the problems that this unit has. Of course, if you guys enjoy this kind of content, consider clap that subscribe button as it will help me tremendously. And without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with the classic Hexaorb, and she has the ability to give additional power to your rearguard whenever you drive check any trigger. So this card actually has some interesting point, and in my honest opinion, its effect actually hold quite well even in today's meta standard. This is due to the fact that when it comes to power, it is actually extremely flexible because this means that with one single trigger, you can actually power up 2 different rearguards on your field. And not only that, since Keter Sanctuary over trigger give rearguard's ability to drive check, this means that the effect will go off to these units as well. However, this is where its usefulness ends because of the fact that if you want to bring more utility or rush into the board with original Hexaorb, you do need a very specific unit that does restand when you drive check a trigger. So cards like Mephisto and Lalita. These two cards in my opinion are quite a crux of a lot of Hexaorb build, and it is still kind of due for some Aquamarine build as well. This is due to the fact that you just get a free restand in general. However, in my honest opinion, this does cause into something what I like to call key piece issue, and this can get very annoying because you do need this specific card to get to the board that you desired. And in Hexaorb case, you do need 2 additional rearguard for the restand as well, making things a lot more annoying. Though if you can get around all these problems, you get a lot of power on your rearguard, which is not the end of the world thing, but I do feel that in the current meta, giving more power to different rearguard is not enough to actually win you games. Especially we have to consider all the additional costs you have to use for Lalita, Mephisto, or the counter blast nightmare that Hexaorb has always been known to have a lot of problem with.
No, he's got a point.
Moving on to a brand new form of Hexaorb, Aquamarine, she has a very useful skill as a skill that is not linked to Persona Right, and that is the skill that allows her to restand a rearguard at the Court of Soul Blast when this unit drive check reveal a trigger. There are definitely some downgrade to her effects, especially the fact that now it costs something to activate her skill, but I do feel the cost is appropriate but at the same time ridiculous because it only costs Soul Blast 1 for you to actually get a rearguard restand. And for those who say, oh, it doesn't give you power, do not forget the trigger still exists to give you the power that you needed. And not only that, it actually fixes a lot of problem because now that the effect that allow you to go multi-attack is locked to your Vanguard, you open up a few deck slots in your deck that allow you to put different tech choices that work well with her other skill, namely the Persona Right skill, making the deck a lot more flexible than the original Hexaorb. Of course, the deck do still have some issue. As already mentioned earlier, the effect only work within herself and the restand doesn't give you any more power, which may make the defensive a lot more painful for those people who actually choose to play Aquamarine on turn 3 instead of the original Hexaorb. And not only that, this is an issue that Hexaorb do have, but you kind of in the mercy of your RNG luck. Yes, you can essentially manipulate those top 3 cards through cards like Effulgence, Quadracast, and everything, but if you actually with any of your trigger activation, your deck is a sitting duck. Fortunately for Hexaorb, there is a lot of cards in the Keter Sanctuary now that is generic and actually useful in the deck, and because of that, this issue is not as bad as you think it is. It is a problem that does come every once in a while, consistent enough for me to call it as a problem, but it is not game ending for the deck because, like I already mentioned in my tier list video, its power scaling when you check into a trigger during its Persona Right is so insane that even some of the strongest deck having a hard time to guard against it. So, Which is a better unit to put into the right deck, original Hexaorb or Aquamarine? And the answer to that, to me, is Aquamarine. This is for a few reasons, of course. This is due to the fact that it is just more worth it to have a deck space that allow you to put in a lot of technical unit in, instead of a very specific unit that essentially do only 1 or 2 jobs. It also allows you to commit a little lesser in the part of your early game, as well as allow you to guard a lot more during your early game, preventing you from getting sacked by multiple crits in one shot. And that is it for today's video. Do note that this video considers you are using the original Hexaorb light line as a measure, but if you guys have your own thoughts on different right lines or different composition of the right lines, do leave down in the comments below, cause I'm very curious on why people still choose to go for original Hexaorb instead of Aquamarine. But yeah, that's all I have for today guys. Take care of yourself, and this is McMegane signing out.